Hello fellow Aryan citizens of the Greater German Reich. Are you feeling doubts that you might lose the war? Are you afraid that you might lose your racial supremacy across all over Europe? Well, here's an easy guide on how to epically own the liberals and win World War II. We are using a pretty infamous and very well thought out, well documented, and well sourced list on Twitter by the user Royalist Weeb for this great contribution. So let's read the list, shall we? As you all know, after the fall of France in June 1940, Britain is in quite a pickle as they defend the British Isles from the Luftwaffe. The Luftwaffe did start off bombing airports, bases, and RAF facilities to cripple the Royal Air Force from gaining any superiority. However, after a while, the Luftwaffe began terror bombing Britain instead by targeting cities and large civilian areas, which led to RAF making a recovery and eventually capture air superiority from the Luftwaffe and bombing the shit out of German cities like Dresden, which is an absolute big no-no. So let's do it differently. Let's say that Hitler decided to think more smarter and less with his crack addiction and decided to still continue bombing RAF military bases. That's a great blow to the British Air Force. Definitely will turn the tides of the war. We might have gained total air superiority over England and might even do Operation Sea Lion and completely dominate the British. Let's ignore the fact that there are still facilities in the north that the Luftwaffe can't reach, and also the fact that there are planes built literally everywhere from the Commonwealth. Congratulations, Commandant, we've effectively won the Battle of Britain. As you all know with common knowledge and meme culture, Italy is known for its backwards military and historical blunders that pretty much everyone knows and makes fun of them for. Disasters like the invasion of Greece and losing North Africa is a known fact for their blunders, and of course the Germans can't just let that go. So what if instead, Hitler decided to go to Mussolini and slap some sense into him, just tell him to not be a stupid little Italian boy that eats pizza every day and just get good. Of course, Mussolini not wanting to disappoint his senpai, he then gets the spirit of Caesar himself and begins to become a military mastermind. He manages to beat Greece decisively and overrun British Egypt and pretty much create the Neo-Roman Empire he so desperately wanted to have. Italy defeats and kicks the Royal Navy out the Mediterranean Sea and finally achieves Mare Nostrum. Well, we seem to forget that the Italian army was untrained, undeveloped, and not well supplied. Also, the fact that the mechanized armies were also rare and underdeveloped also leads to its ineffectiveness to do actual good large-scale combat. But hey, George Washington managed to beat Britain with just a couple of farmers with guns, and he won the Revolutionary War. Who's to say our man with the funny hat can't also do that? During June of 1941, the Germans orchestrated its biggest invasion that the world has ever seen, Operation Barbarossa, aka the invasion of the Soviet Union, and from the looks of it, it did turn out well in the beginning. The Germans pushed all the way near Moscow and captured pretty much a lot of the Soviets' heartlands in Europe. Unfortunately, there are definitely some problems and obstacles that the Germans faced that led to the downfall of this operation. Mainly, as one of the more famous ones, is the Siege of Leningrad, which lasted 4 years before being pushed back by the Russian army. This siege took a lot of the German manpower and resources, which is really quite the blow. Well, there's definitely a way to prevent this. There's one key problem that Hitler didn't realize to solve by one simple thing. The Germans asked politely. The Germans simply asked and said pretty pleased to the Soviets to just let them take Leningrad. So much German equipment and men lost just from not saying please. The Soviets stuck at Leningrad were fighting back the Germans because of their rude nature to just take whatever they want as without a please or being well-mannered individuals. After all, as Aryans, we are supposed to be known for our divine goodness and us being born as savages. I'm sure Mr. Stalin wouldn't mind letting you have one of its biggest and most important cities in the USSR. In fact, the Germans were even nicer, he probably giving away Stalingrad and Moscow too. What a missed opportunity. Another hole in Operation Barbarossa was doing its push into the Caucasus and having to take Stalingrad with just the 6th Army. They did capture it for a bit. However, they eventually fell to the stronger and advancing Soviet troops, and this basically was one of the things that led down the failure of the operation. Honestly, I have nothing for this one, as this is really the plan the Germans were doing anyways down south. One of the main reasons the Germans were invading the Soviet Union is for their national resources, especially oil, as they were running low. Anyways, there's always a contingency plan for everything. For this one, you ever notice that there are so much troops stationed on France's coast? That's free soldiers that could have just been used to support the rush to Stalingrad and fill lines in. After all, it is quite a waste to just station them in France. Not like the Allies are going to do an invasion anytime soon. Just take the oil and you have yourself a very strong force that will defeat the Soviets in no time. Maybe you can use the resources to even invade the US too, for that matter. Well, if all hope fails, there's always one thing left to use as an alternate weapon: the power of friendship. Of course, we should use any anti-communist right-wing Slavs around Ukraine or Belarus to help with Barbarossa. This plan is really foolproof. Well, I mean, that does go against the point of our ideology, which is racial supremacy, and Slavs are basically scum to us, but a simple badge that says honorary Aryan and slapping on them works. That's how they did it with Japan. Why can't they do it here? After all, you are Aryan based on your features and race. Unless you are a great benefit to us, then of course you get the special exception badge. A really unflawed plan. Africa, a land of deserts and plains. Africa, as you know, have been divided by the European powers. One of them is Libya by Italy. Of course, during World War II, Italy and Germany had an army that helped defend and attacked any oncoming British troops that could dare trespass in. However, that is simply a waste of resources that could have been used for the much more important Barbarossa. Africa doesn't seem to have a lot of stuff there anyways. I'm sure Mussolini can handle it by himself. So why not we just pull the Desert Fox and his men out and send them to the other fronts while we leave Africa to its own devices. I'm sure the Allies will have good sportsmanship and be kinder to Italy after seeing his failures, and you know, not use North Africa as an invasion base over Italy. And that's it. I hope this list helps you out against the Allies and get that epic win. Make sure to like and subscribe, as I'll be posting more Guten content like this in the future. And remember, Heil Hitler.
Es bleiben im Raum Keitel, Jodl, Krebs und Burgdorf. Das war ein Befehl! Der Angriff Steiners war ein Befehl! Wer schickt Sie? Dass Sie es wagen, sich meinen Befehl zu widersetzen! Die gesamte Generalität ist nichts weiter als ein Haufen niederträchtiger, treuloser Feiglinge!
Mein Führer, ich kann nicht zulassen, dass die Soldaten, die für Sie verbringen...
Nicht als Feiglinge! Verreiter, Versager!
Mein Führer, was Sie da sagen, ist ungeheuerlich!
Die Generalität ist das Geschmeiß des deutschen Volkes! Sie ist ohne Ehre! Sie nennen sich Generale, weil Sie Jahre auf Militärakademien zugebracht haben, nur um